The content discussed in this episode is for educational or informative purposes only and should not be replaced by individualized professional consultations or professional medical advice. Hey guys, I'm Tasha.
Hey listeners, this is Guni.
And you're tuned in to Doctor the podcast, where we chat and explore all things on integrative medicine. So we have a special guest today with us. He is a trailblazer and one of the pioneers who brought Ayurveda to the UK in the 70s. He is a qualified Ayurvedic physician, an acupuncturist and Marmapuncturist who started his career at the Tyringham Clinic, which is a British-based residential complementary medicine clinic. He's also the founding president of the Ayurvedic Medical Association UK, British Marmapuncture Association, and British Institute of Marmapuncture. So a very warm welcome to you, Dr. Godagama. Thank you so much for coming onto our show, Doctor the podcast.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Hi, Guni.
It's nice to see you through Zoom as usual, Dasha.
So maybe a good place to start would be how you came into Ayurveda and what sparked your interest in it.
So it is always from my childhood interest to be involved in healing profession and to become a doctor or physician. The journey starts 1965. I joined the faculty of Ayurveda in Colombo. And it was very interesting faculty because there we learned both Western medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. That are the mainline treatment modality available today. And then after my qualification, I was selected by the government as a first Ayurvedic doctor to be trained in Panchakarma treatments. Panchakarma treatment is a method of purification, is internal and external. Internal, you give oral medications to detox the body. And external, we do abhyanga, the oil massage or steam bath and so on. You break down the toxins. And it's a complete purification. That is what we call Panchakarma. So I was trained 1 year specially for Panchakarma. And then, of course, after my full training, I went into a private practice in Sri Lanka in a very remote area where we had about population about 25,000 people, and there was no doctor available in that region. So then I was forced to practice Western medicine because of the need of Western medicine, quite great in a remote area. So I was practicing Western medicine for nearly 3 years in Sri Lanka. The reason why I went to acupuncture was that I had a patient suffering from a condition called trigeminal neuralgia, that is suicidal pain across the face. And I was using injections, all those painkillers, and patients getting nowhere. And then I knew he was getting very, very desperate, depressed, and he was quite negative at the time. Luckily, I heard this acupuncture set up in Colombo General Hospital, and I wrote a letter to Professor Anton Jayasuriya. And this man went for treatment for 3 months, and then he came back to me, and in our tradition, he knelt down in front of me, saving his life. So in fact, that was the first eye-opener for me as a practitioner. So I must learn this science. So that is why I became the first student in Sri Lanka to learn acupuncture. And I did a 1-year course under Anton Jayasuriya while I was practicing. And also we used to do a lot of surgical procedures using acupuncture. Instead of anesthesia, we can numb the patient using acupuncture. And then we had a few surgical procedures like hysterectomy, opening up the stomach and then removing the womb, and thyroidectomies and few dental extractions, whilst the patient was quite conscious. So therefore, it is the enormous amount of capability and capacity acupuncture being very well demonstrated. I have added that as another therapeutic tool to my existing practice. So I carried out Western medicine together with acupuncture. Since I started acupuncture side of it, I have withdrawn almost all the painkillers from the patients. So for 90% of our patients are suffering from pain. So it was a very good tool to control the pain.
Dr. Godagama, how did you come to the UK?
Dr. Sidney Rosnell, he heard of our acupuncture practices in Sri Lanka, and then he came and he observed how we were using acupuncture as a therapeutic model. And then as a result, immediately he invited me to come and work in his residential clinic in Newport Pagnell in Milton Keynes. And so I became a consultant, actually first Ayurvedic doctor to arrive UK on a work permit. So impressed with the clinic. It was a huge investment by Sir Maurice Lang, ran as a registered charity, accommodating about 100 living in patients. Later on, I became a director of the clinic. So that is how I set up the first Ayurvedic medical center within that institute.
What are some of the challenges you faced as you set up the clinic or you set up Ayurveda, being the pioneer?
It was quite challenging and also the depressing time for me because in 1979, Ayurveda is unheard of in this part of the world. So even if you ask a medical doctor, what is Ayurveda, they know nothing about it. So it is how the world communication in this Western world has been completely blocked away from the Eastern sciences. So therefore, I was quite depressed because I didn't know how to get my journey started, although I set up a clinic for residential purpose, introducing Ayurveda as a therapeutic modality. But from when you go to the general public and ask about Ayurveda, it's not known. So it was a challenging time. Then I thought, what can I do to promote Ayurveda within the community? That is 22 years ago, I have written this book called Ayurveda, Handbook of Ayurveda. What I have done was that I have diluted the technicality of the Ayurveda science into the layman's language. So therefore, it's a very good bedside reading, like you can start from the beginning to end in one day. Right? So therefore, it became hugely popular and it's available in many translations around the world. So I'm very happy that, the word of Ayurveda and its science and its base being passed down to the general population. So gradually, I've been involved in seminars, conferences, organizing public events in the past 40 years in various locations to popularize Ayurveda.
You're definitely a pioneer in you spread the message for the community in the UK. So there's so much to celebrate for that, because I don't think, they would have been able to get access to this information early on.
Now, we had quite interesting leading figures in this country, UK, particularly I must mention Prince Charles, Prince of Wales. He was very keen and supportive for Ayurveda and Indian sciences. And I met him a couple of times, and he's the chairperson of the King's Fund here. And also he had his own organization called Prince of Wales Foundation for Integrated Health. He has given us a lot of support to get Ayurveda on board and get Ayurveda popularized. I was a keynote speaker at the King's Fund, a seminar on Ayurveda organized by his own organization.
That's great. That's really useful to have someone on your side that supports it, of that stature. Yeah.
How have you seen Ayurveda change over time in the UK from the moment you arrive and being, the first till today?
Yes, Guni, it is very interesting. Today, I'm very happy about my journey. And firstly, I founded the Ayurvedic Medical Association UK. That was about nearly 30 years ago. I managed to get nearly 60 qualified Ayurvedic doctors who have done 6-year degrees or diplomas from Sri Lanka or India or Pakistan. They came over here and they were living here and they were not practicing in a way. So therefore, I have provided the platform and laid the initial stones for them to come forward. And I have arranged that organization. And then also I have co-founded with my colleague, Dr. Maruf Atiq, the College of Ayurveda in UK about 25 years ago. And because I have recognized we cannot depend on graduates from abroad all the time. We need to produce the Ayurvedic qualified personalities in UK within this ground. So that was one of the aim of popularizing Ayurveda, is to create an educational institute in UK which allow British public to join and learn easily.
And how did the regulatory landscape change over time in the UK?
How it changed was that British government and the British public wanted these professions, particularly the herbal medical sector, to be regulated by state. At the same time, so that we have a very strong herbal lobby here in UK, National Institute of Herbal Practitioners and various Western herbals. And then, of course, the Chinese herbal sector came up, and then Ayurvedic herbal sector came up and set up. So therefore, jointly, we together made some representations. There were 3 parliamentary select committees actually appointed during this last 35 years period. And all those committees were aimed at how to regulate the herbal medical sector in UK. So we were pressing for statutory regulation, and then government was quite reluctant. And in the end, final result was the last committee appointed, which I gave evidence on before 3 committees. and it was left for self-regulatory model. So that is what we are following. And the government recommended actually one unified organization to represent Ayurvedic profession. So that was my mission last 5 years. I was trying and collaborating and cooperating with all the Ayurvedic practitioner organizations within UK to get them together under the one round table. So I've been providing platform for that. And so finally we have founded the British Ayurvedic Medical Council. So therefore, during all these processes, the public was quite aware of it, and a lot of communication, a lot of publications taken place in UK, a lot of writings in local paper. The thing in the West is that we need to give a confidence. The public confidence is important in any profession. And also we need to be seen, transparency of the organization, and also the professionalism to be maintained by the organization. So those are the works we have done in setting up the British Ayurvedic Medical Council. Not only that, I have set up the British Marmapuncture Association and British Institute of Marmapuncture during my time here. So all these organizations has been well set now.
With regards to Marmapuncture and acupuncture, what's the difference?
That is where the story began, another story, because I have studied Vedic medicine in Colombo, of course, and then in one of the Bibles in Ayurveda is the Charaka Samhita and Susruta Samhita. So 3,000 years old textbooks very well explain 107 marma or vital points. It's used as marma. This is a 3,000 years old word, marma. Marma is the vital points which exist within the body in various, particularly running around on skin surface. So there were 107 marma points described in Charaka Samhita, but the thing is, it's been recommended for therapeutic purpose. But no Ayurvedic practitioner or no Ayurvedic institute in India or Sri Lanka been actively engaged or involved in designing a course to teach this science as another therapeutic modality. Because Ayurveda is a number of therapeutic modalities, not only one area we are looking at. The Marma is another modality described in Charaka Samhita and very well explained in Ayurvedic medicine, but nobody taught this science to the medical Ayurvedic students throughout the world. So since I learned modern acupuncture came from China, I have done a lot of research work on this subject. So fortunately, when I wrote my book, after all my research work, I have realized that this is a true science. Acupuncture went to China from India historically, particularly when the Mughals invaded and ruled India. At the time, the cultural heritage had left India for other countries. One of the countries was China. It went as far as Japan, but particularly through the Buddhist route. When you look at the history, Buddhist monks were trained as physicians and trained as a martial art experts. They had to travel through difficult conditions, so they learned the self-defense as well as the healing arts. One of the healing arts was the Marma Chikitsa. Marma Chikitsa chapter went to China, and we thank China for developing Marma as an acupuncture and developing it as a true science. So this went all around the world. Since Henry Kissinger, the State Secretary of United States, visited China first time, the door opened to the Western world. China was open during Mao Zedong's time. So this is about nearly 45 years ago. So with my research work, now it is worldwide known within the Ayurvedic community. My first graduates, they graduated in House of Lords here in UK. And during the graduation ceremony, the Indian High Commission also present at the time. And I mentioned that I'm bringing back the olden days glory back to India as a Marmapuncture.
Awesome. That's so interesting to have that history, to know that how it moved across borders and giving it its rightful space to be appreciated and used.
In this journey, I'm not alone here. Dr. Frank Ross from Australia, he ran an Ayurvedic Institute in Australia, and then he mentioned about the value of Marma Chikitsa introducing. And then Dr. Vasant Ladd from America, USA. So there are few books written by various scholars during that time. So therefore, it is a well-established science now.
So could you draw parallels between acupuncture and marmapuncture?
Main difference is there is the 107 marma points missing in acupuncture. And the main 7 chakras of the body is missing. This is energy medicine. Energy medicine is that you are manipulating body and body's energies, pranic energy or chi energy using a needle stimulating a point. So all those point patterns very well explained in Chinese acupuncture. and their therapeutic indications been very well explained. Then the Marmapuncture, 117 Marma points, and they are existing independently without any connection to any meridians or energy system. They are sitting independently within the body, and we have recognized 70 of them are located within acupuncture points, within the meridian system. So that is the entry point into the whole body energy system. So when you do Marma Chikitsa into those 70 points, that triggers the whole body action. It's like you are tapping the main electrical system. So what is the main electrical system in the body? Is the 7 chakras. 7 chakras absorb universal energies according to our environment. Our body is a creation in this world. And so therefore, we are part of it. We are part of a built environment. So therefore, we've been influenced by external factors. And the main sources are these 7 chakras. And from 7 chakras, like transformers, there are 117 Marma points. And out of 117 Marma points, 70 of them are discovered. They are sitting on acupuncture meridian points. So those are the points access to the internal organs. So it's well laid and well said. That's the difference. So when you learn acupuncture, you learn only acupuncture and meridian system. No mentioning about the 117 Marma points and chakra points. So I have combined these two systems together. And as a unique method, as Marmapuncture, that is a complete science.
So if I understand correctly, are you saying that what you're adding on top of what acupuncture is saying is that there's like the big picture, which is the chakra points, and then there are additional points within the acupuncture points that are not mentioned and that are access to different access points, energetically speaking, to the body?
Yeah, they are influencing points. So I would say highly powerful and more vital points. Say acupuncture points, the third level of energy in the body. The first level chakra, second level 117 Marma points, and then the third level is the acupuncture point.
Right.
So I have seen the limitation in practice. When you practice on certain conditions, acupuncture points alone, you may get 30% success. But if you combine with Marma points, you get 75% success. Or 100.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the difference. So the success rate is higher.
Yeah. So I guess from there, like what could be interesting to know is how do you think it can be adopted in the mainstream healthcare system?
Yes, Pasha, you are right on the spot on that question, because that is a question now. Prince Charles, the leading figure, actually, he wants to see one day this Ayurveda in the National Health Service in UK. So following his advice and guidance, we have laid the organizational side very strongly now. So that is the first step towards the entry to the National Health Service. Once you have a self-regulatory model, then what will have, it will become a statutory model. Once it becomes a statutory model, then the state will take over. And once we have enough graduates in UK through these institutes, colleges, which we have accredited by the British Ayurvedic Medical Council, and once we have enough graduates, it will become a possibility within the NHS. Look at the story of acupuncture, for example. Now acupuncture is well established and well recognized. During my time, it used to be a backstreet practice. Now, here, even in Milton Keynes, we have a contract with the NHS Trust that acupuncture is being offered to the patients. So that is the step in the future. We are hoping once the profession gets the house in order, so that will lead to the recognition of Ayurveda in UK. There's no doubt about it.
Right. So regulatory foundation and then statutory foundation.
In supporting that, we have created another organization called All-Party Parliamentary Group for Indian Health Sciences, because we need some political support. So together, we have about nearly 35 MPs on the British government signed for this organization. And we are leading a political platform towards recognition of Ayurveda or Indian health sciences. And on the other way, we are influencing government. I've been the first appointee by the British government, Medicine and Healthcare Regulatory Authority. I've been working 15 years as advisor on herbal medicine, especially on Ayurvedic medical side. Worked as the member of the herbal medicine advisory committee with the Department of Health and MHRA.
I was wondering, because you have this heritage you're bringing to England with Ayurveda. What is it about Ayurveda that you are so passionate about, and why do you believe that if there was more Ayurveda in people's healthcare system, they would potentially be more healthier? Or what is it about Ayurveda that you think people can use in their daily healthcare?
It's an interesting question, Gune. So Ayurveda has a wide variety of therapeutic modalities to prevent the illness, treat the illness, and maintain the illness. The prevention is a major part of Ayurveda. So if I draw a comparison to Western medicine, Western surgical science is fantastic, 100% I agree with. But Western medical treatment, when the patients, what they're getting from the GPs, one way it's good, it relieves the symptom at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come into a cure, Western medicine is very limited in curing diseases. Why? Because the problem is gone too far, too deep within the human body. So it becomes chronic. When a patient go to a doctor, that means you display clinical symptoms, then the doctor diagnose. That pathological process is a long process. It is hidden within the body. Abnormal patterns develop every day, and then it comes to surface one day. At that point, it's helpless. Because then you talk about the maintenance and management of the condition.
Right.
Beauty of Ayurveda, you go and see an Ayurvedic doctor, whether you check the pulse or you check your lifestyle, you talk many things, not 5 minutes or 10 minutes consultation. You talk many aspects of life and then go deeply into the lifestyles and then find out what are the dosha imbalance in the body. So, and what is our birth, what prakriti we born with.
Right.
And everyone is unique. You, Tasha, you, Guni, and me, we are anatomically, physiologically the same, but functionally we are different. So therefore, that difference is very well recognized in Ayurveda. And then you need to design a unique treatment modality for each of them. So that is a difference I see in Ayurveda. You address for example, why they say Panchakarma every season for everybody. It's a prevention. You prepare the body for the next season.
But I think one point that, because we were talking with Dr. Atik about this as well, what do you think Ayurveda is ready to do in the UK with regards to those 3 points, which is prevention, illness treatment, and management? Do you think that at this current time, Ayurveda in the UK can cover, with the knowledge and the different practitioners that are here, can they cover these three areas?
They can cover these 3 areas, but the thing is, question is that it is not widely available to the British public. So availability, and because it is expensive too. So therefore, access to Ayurveda is not freely available. So that is why where we need to address this issue in the future. On long run, Gunay, that because we are living in a commercial world, so everything down to money. So therefore, drug companies they are making huge profits. And when you really look at the inside stories of drug companies, they are making drugs to manage the diseases.
Right.
They are not producing drug to cure the diseases. So once you cure, if you find a medicine to cure the disease, that means there is no market.
So, but the thing is that, do you believe that is there enough practitioners in the UK to be able to have that knowledge to treat the illness like the Western side?
Yes, they need knowledge. They are knowledgeable. Once you graduate from Ayurvedic college or Ayurvedic colleges in India or Sri Lanka, then they are qualified to manage the illnesses or treat the illnesses or cure the illnesses or guide the patients to prevention, right? So they are fully equipped with that. So, but the time limitation is very important because you need to spend time with the patient. So I spend at least minimum half an hour or sometimes 1 hour in during consultation. So there you need to understand the whole person. Without understanding the whole person, you can't prescribe or you can't design any treatment plan. So that is what.
But what I've noticed in the UK or in the West is that people, when they look at Ayurveda, they might come across therapists or Ayurvedic coach for nutrition. And I think there is a misconception about what they can actually provide in terms of healthcare.
Yeah, this is what the regulation come into, actually, your question leading to that. Because now, don't forget, because of the Western popularity, now we are gaining popularity every day for Indian health sciences, from yoga to the meditation to the everything. So it's gaining more and more popular. So when any science become more and more popular, that leading to malpractice in a way, right? So that is why we need a regulatory body. So, for example, there are there are so many yoga postures, asanas, even some things like a goat yoga and things like that.
You read my mind. Because I was like, there are people who are doing goat yoga, which is really offensive, What are they doing?
What we do. So this is what we're talking about, the regulation, right? And not only that, Ayurveda is the same. There are so many, you can't blame the Western public. People are going into India or Sri Lanka. They are learning Ayurveda under various institutes, various individuals. The same way here in the UK too. It was eye-opener when one day a lady came to me and said, "Can you teach me Ayurveda?" So the question is so simple to her, to ask me. Yeah, but I spent 6 years learning that. So how do you?
They wouldn't go to like a medical doctor and say like, "Hey, can you teach me to do a heart surgery?" There's no way they would do that, right?
There's no quick route to this, So that is why we set up the college with the syllabuses approved by the Indian Health Council and Sri Lanka. So therefore, we can't dilute any science in such a way because of the popularity. We need to protect the system. That is, the protection is my priority. That's why when I set up the college also, no way we are going to dilute the curriculum. So we need to have a standard curriculum taught to the students, proper thing. So there are so many institutes here, even operating in UK also, nowhere near to our College of Ayurveda curriculum. So therefore, we need to be very careful where people are trying to learn things very quickly because of the public interest. So you can't blame them. So we need to protect the profession very well. This is our duty.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Godagama, for the interview today.
Thank you very much, Tasha, and thank you very much, Kune.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. We hope to have more fruitful conversations like these in future.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and select that follow or subscribe button. For now, stay safe and we'll see you next week.